Cool. So, guys, 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader. This is from John Maxwell. I'm going to rip through this as a book review. I did the 21 Irrefutable Qualities of Leadership as well. And when I compare these two books, just so you guys understand the difference, the 21 Irrefutable Qualities of Leadership is more so like principles. And if you understand the difference between principles and values, principles more so regulate your physical, external realm actions, things outside that you're physically doing, and then your values is more so your core, your foundation, your internal regulations, your thoughts, what you speak, say, and believe in. And so this is more so the foundation to the principles. This is the values. This is the predecessor, essentially, to the 21 Irrefutable Qualities of Leadership. So this is, in a sense, even more important, because without this, the 21 Irrefutable Qualities of Leadership doesn't matter. So the first is character. The first quality of a leader is character. Be a piece of the rock. Leadership is the capacity and will to rally men and women to a common purpose, and the character which inspires confidence. And that was by Bernard Montgomery. And then he goes on to say, well, actually, this is from Dag Hammarskjöld, I believe you say. I think that's his name. It looks German. Never for the sake of peace and quiet deny your own experience or convictions. And he was a statesman and a Nobel Prize winner. So what I got out of this chapter is character is more than talk. Anyone can say that he has integrity, but action is the real indicator of character. The second piece is talent is a gift, but character is a choice. We have no control over a lot of things in life. We don't get to choose our parents. We don't select the location or circumstances of our birth and upbringing, and we don't pick our IQ or our talents. But you can select your character. As you live your life and make choices today, you are continuing to create your character. The third piece is character brings lasting success with people. True leadership always involves other people. Followers do not trust leaders whose character they know to be flawed, and they will not continue to follow them. Leaders cannot rise above the limitations of their character. Have you ever seen a highly talented people suddenly fall apart when they achieved a certain level of success? The key to that phenomenon is character. So Steve Berglas, he goes on to say, he's a psychologist at Harvard Medical School, the success syndrome. And he says that people who achieve great heights but lack the bedrock character to sustain them through the stress are headed for disaster. And so he says he believes they are destined for one or more of the 4 A's: arrogance, painful feelings of aloneness, destructive adventure seeking, or adultery. Each is a terrible place or price to pay for weak character. Unaddressed cracks in your character only get deeper and more destructive with time. Your words and actions match all the time. Is this happening with your character? The respect that leadership must have requires that one's ethics be without question. A leader not only stays above the line between right and wrong, he stays well clear of gray areas. So some reflection with the character, searching for the cracks. Spend some time looking at the major areas of your life, work, marriage, family, service, etc., and identify anywhere you might have cut corners, compromised, or let people down. Write down every instance you can recall from the past 2 months. Look for patterns, face the music, rebuild. That's what real character is being bigger on the inside. The second quality is charisma. So the first impression can seal the deal. And so how can you have charisma? Be more concerned about making others feel good about themselves than you are making them feel good about you. That was from Dan Ryland. I have yet to find the man, however, exalted his station, who did not do better work and put forth greater effort under a spirit of approval than under a spirit of criticism. You should always be building people up 99% of the time compared to criticizing, let alone tearing people down. Should never be the case if you're in leadership. The first point in regard to charisma is love life. If you want to attract people, you need to be like the people you enjoy being with. 18th century evangelist John Wesley recognized that, saying, when you set yourself on fire, people love to come and see you burn. Second point, put a 10 on every person's head. One of the best things you can do for people, which also attracts them to you, is to expect the best of them. I call it putting a 10 on everyone's head. Jacques Weissel, a survey of 100 self-made millionaires showed only one common denominator. These highly successful individuals, men and women, could only see the good in people. The greatest good you can do for one another is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to him his own. If you appreciate others, encourage them, and help them reach their potential, they will love you for it. The third piece is give people hope. French General Napoleon Bonaparte characterized leaders as dealers in hope. Be a dealer of hope, not dope. Share yourself. People love leaders who share themselves and share their journeys, their life journeys. As you lead people, give of yourself, share wisdom, resources, and even special occasions. That's the fourth piece. Wrapping that up, when it comes to charisma, the bottom line is other-mindedness. Leaders who think about others and their concerns before thinking of themselves exhibit charisma. How would you rate yourself when it comes to charisma? Are other people naturally attracted to you? Are you well-liked? If not, you may possess one of these roadblocks. Here's the roadblocks to charisma: pride, insecurity, moodiness, perfectionism, cynicism. People don't want to be rained down upon by somebody. When's the last time you performed better because somebody was making fun of you or constantly criticizing and tearing you down? Change your focus. So if you want to improve your charisma, change your focus. As you talk to others, determine how much of your conversation is concentrated on yourself. Play the first impression game. Learn the person's name, focus on his interest or her interest, be positive, and most important, treat her as a 10. See them as the best they could possibly be, and share of yourself. The third piece is commitment. It separates doers from dreamers. People do not follow uncommitted leaders. Commitment can be displayed in a full range of matters to include the work hours you choose to maintain, how you work to improve your abilities, or what you do for your fellow workers at a personal sacrifice. That's Stephen Gregg. He's the chairman and CEO of Ethics Corporation. He who has done his best for his own time has lived for all times. And that's by Johann von Schiller. Right away I get into when asked why he was working so diligently on a dark corner, and this is about Michelangelo when he was painting the Sistine Chapel, and somebody had said nobody would ever see that dark corner. Michelangelo simply replied, God will see. That's caring about your quality and the quality of life, the quality of your business, and so it's vitally important for you to care about your quality. So a couple pieces in regard to quality. The first is commitment starts in the heart. When it comes to your commitment, the first commitment starts in the heart. Some people want everything to be perfect before they're willing to commit themselves to anything, but commitment always precedes achievement. I am told that in the Kentucky Derby, this is really cool, the winning horse effectively runs out of oxygen after the first half mile, and he goes the rest of the way on heart. NBA legend Michael Jordan explains that heart is what separates the good from the great. So if you want to make a difference in other people's lives as a leader, look into your heart to see if are you actually committed. So the second piece, commitment is tested by action. It's one thing to talk about commitment, it's another thing to do something about it. The only real measure of commitment is your action. I always tell people, don't talk about it, be about it. Show me. Author Gordon acknowledged nothing is easier than saying words. Nothing is harder than living them day after day. Commitment opens the door to achievement. As a leader, you will face plenty of obstacles and opposition. If you don't already, and there will be times when commitment is the only thing that carries you forward. David McNally, he commented, he said, commitment is the enemy of resistance, for it is a serious promise to press on, to get up no matter how many times you are knocked down. If you want to get anywhere worthwhile, you must be committed. Reflecting on it. So when it comes to commitments, there are really only four types of people. There's cop-outs, people who have no goals and do not commit. Holdouts, people who don't know if they can reach their goals, so they're afraid to commit. Dropouts, people who start toward a goal but quit when the going gets tough. And then you have all-outs, people who set goals, commit to them, and pay the price to reach them. And so when the going gets tough, they keep going. They don't give up. Number 4 is communication. Without it, you travel alone. And so some of the vital pieces of communication that I have highlighted is simplifying your message. Communication is not what you say, it's also how you say it. See the person. Effective communicators focus on the people with whom they're communicating. They know it's impossible to effectively communicate to an audience without knowing something about them. Show the truth. Credibility precedes great communication. There are 2 ways to convey credibility to your audience. First, believe in what you say. Ordinary people become extraordinary communicators when they are fired up with conviction. And the number 4, seek a response. As you communicate, never forget that the goal of all communication is action. If you dump a bunch of information on people, you're not communicating. Every time you speak to people, give them something to feel, something to remember, and something to do. Be clear as a bell. Examine a letter, memo, or other item you've already written. Are your sentences short and direct, or do they meander? Will your readers be able to grasp the words you've chosen, or will they have to scramble for a dictionary? Have you used the fewest words possible? To a communicator, your best friends are simplicity and clarity. Refocus your attention. During the coming week, pay attention to your focus when you're communicating. Is it on you, your material, or your audience? If it's not on people, you need to change it. Think about their needs, questions, and desires. Meet people where they are, and you will be a better communicator. Live your message. Are there any discrepancies between what you communicate and what you do? Receive their comments without defensiveness. Then purpose to make changes in your life and be more consistent. The 5th quality is competence. If you build it, they will come. Competence goes beyond words. If the leader's ability to say it, plan it, and do it in such a way that others know that you know how and know they want you to follow, that's when they're going to follow you, is when you can display competence. So a few pieces of competence. Number one is show up every day. There's a saying, all things come to him who waits. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just the leftovers from the people who got there first. Responsible people show up when they're expected, but highly competent people take it a step further. They don't show up in body only. They come ready to play every day, no matter how they feel, what kind of circumstances they face, or how difficult they expect the game to be. Number two is keep improving. Like Benjamin Franklin, all highly competent people continually search for ways to keep learning, growing, and improving. They aren't the ones that are asking why. After all, the person who knows how will always have a job, but the person who knows why, so they do ask why. They do that by asking why, but the person who knows the why will always be the boss. Number three, follow through with excellence. I've never met a person I considered competent who didn't follow through. Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Performing at a high level of excellence is always a choice, an act of the will. As leaders, we expect our people to follow through when we hand them the ball. They expect that and a whole lot more from us, and just us simply being as their leaders. Accomplish more than expected is the fourth. Highly competent people always go the extra mile. For them, good is never good enough. Leaders cannot afford to have that kind of attitude. They need to do the job and then some, day in and day out. 5, they inspire others. Highly competent leaders do more than perform at a high level. They inspire and motivate their people to do the same. While some people rely on relational skills alone to survive, effective leaders combine these skills with high competence to take their organizations to new levels of excellence and influence. Where do you stand when it comes to getting the job done? Do you attack everything you do with fervor and perform at the highest level possible, or is it good enough, sometimes good enough for you? When you think about people who are competent, you're really considering only 3 types of people. Those who can see what needs to happen, those who can make it happen, those who can make things happen when it really counts. When it comes to your profession, where do you consistently perform? Are you a thinker, a doer, or a clutch player? The better you are, the greater potential for influence you will have with your people. To improve your competence, do the following. Get your head in the game. If you've been mentally or emotionally detached from work, it's time to re-engage. First, rededicate yourself to your job. Determine to give it an appropriate amount of your undivided attention. Redefine the standard. And then third, find 3 ways to improve. Nobody keeps improving without being intentional about it. Do a little research to find 3 things you can do to improve your professional skills. Here's your takeaway. You're only as good as your private standards. When was the last time you gave a task your absolute best, but even though nobody would know about it? The 6th quality is courage. One person with courage is a majority. Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees all others. That was Winston Churchill. The first point of courage is courage begins with an inward battle. The second is courage is making things right, not just smoothing them over. Third is courage in a leader inspires commitment from followers. Fourth, your life expands in proportion to your courage. The 7th quality is discernment. Put an end to unsolved mysteries. Smart leaders believe only half of what they hear. Discerning leaders know which half to believe. John Maxwell. So the pieces of discernment. Number 1, discover the root issues. Get to the root of the issue, the root of the problem. Number 2, enhance your problem solving. 3, evaluate your options for maximum impact. 4, multiply your opportunities. People who lack discernment are seldom in the right place at the right time. The 8th quality, focus. The sharper it is, the sharper you are. If you chase 2 rabbits, both will escape. What people say, what people do, and what they say, they do are entirely different things. So when it comes to focus, you should focus, essentially I like to utilize the Pareto principle. 80% of your time, energy, and resources should go into your top 20%. That's pretty much summarizing all the points here. It's putting your focus in the right places, in the right people, the right areas. Analyze your focus. Is it going into the right areas, the right people right now? Shift to your strengths. Staff your weaknesses. Create an edge. Number 9, generosity. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. Calvin Coolidge. Giving is the highest level of living. John Maxwell. So some pieces that I think are also vitally important. Nothing speaks to others when it comes to generosity more loudly or serves others better than generosity from a leader. True generosity isn't an occasional event. It comes from the heart and permeates every aspect of a leader's life, touching his time, money, talent, and possessions. Effective leaders, the kind that people want to follow, don't gather things for themselves. They do it in order to give to others. Be grateful for whatever you have. The second, put people first. The measure of a leader is not the number of people who serve him, but the number of people he serves. Generosity requires putting others first. 3, don't allow the desire for possessions to control you. If you want to be in charge of your heart, don't allow possessions to take charge of you. 4, regard money as a resource. As E. Stanley Jones said, money is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. 5, develop the habit of giving. The only way to maintain an attitude of generosity is to make it your habit to give. Your time, attention, money, and resources. Richard Foster advises, just the very act of letting go of money or some other treasure does something within us. It destroys the demon greed. If you're enslaved by greed, you cannot lead. Are you a generous leader? Do you continually look for ways for you to value and add value to others? Indian poet Rabindranath Tagore, I believe, he said, and which are printed on the back of Lapierre's business cards. It says, all that is not given is lost. What are you currently losing by holding on to it right now? The 10th quality, we're halfway through. Initiative. You won't leave home without it. Success seems to be connected with action. Successful people keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. That's Conrad Hilton. Of all things a leader should fear, complacency should head the list. That's John Maxwell. A few things with that. Number 1, they know what they want. Do you know what you want? Number 2, they push themselves to act. Theodore Roosevelt, there's nothing brilliant or outstanding in my record except perhaps this one thing. I do the things that I believe ought to be done, and when I make up my mind to do a thing, I act. 3, they take more risk. John F. Kennedy asserted, there are risks and costs to a program of action, but they are far less than the long-range risk and costs of comfortable inaction. Make sure you write that down. They make more mistakes. Number 4. IBM founder Thomas J. Watson recognized that when he remarked the way to succeed, it is to double your rate of failure. Senator Robert Kennedy summed it up, only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. And then the former Chrysler chairman, Leela Lakaka, he said, even the right decision is the wrong decision if it is made too late. You won't be able to move forward on the outside until you can move forward on the inside. Don't wait for opportunity to knock, and take the next step. Your 11th quality is listening. To connect with their heart, use your ears. The ear of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. Woodrow Wilson. A good leader encourages followers to tell him what he needs to know, not what he wants to hear. John Maxwell, spitting fire. Absolute fire. I know you need this. I know you love this. This is good. I think I've read this book 5 times. This is so good. I'm going to read this for the rest of my life. Some points with this. Listening. Number 1, your followers. Good leaders, the kind that people want to follow, do more than conduct business when they interact with followers. Number 2, your customers. A Cherokee saying states, listen to the whispers and you won't have to hear the screams. I think Maxwell, he says, I'm amazed by the leaders who are so caught up in their own ideas that they never hear their customers' concerns, complaints, and suggestions. In his book, Business at the Speed of Thought, Microsoft CEO Bill Gates said, unhappy customers are always a concern. They're also your greatest opportunity. Good leaders always make a priority to keep in contact with the people they're serving. 3, your competitors. Sam Markowitz announced, if you don't agree with me, it means you haven't been listening. Though he was no doubt making a joke, the sad truth is that when a leader sees another organization as competition, he focuses his attention on building his own case or championing his cause and forgets to learn from what other group is doing. What is the other group doing? 4, your mentors. No leader is so advanced or experienced that he can afford to be without a mentor. The 12th quality is to take this life and love it. It's passion. That's the 12th quality. When a leader reaches out in passion, he is usually met with an answering passion. John Maxwell. Anyone can dabble, but once you've made that commitment, your blood has that particular thing in it, and it's very hard for people to stop you. Bill Cosby. In the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership I mentioned in the beginning of this, I tell the story of Papa John's Pizza and how the company, founded in 1984 by John Schnatter, grew from 1 to 46 stores in the first 7 years and in 46 to 1,600 in the 7 years after that. The phenomenal success the company experienced in the second half was due to the law of explosive growth, which says to add growth, lead followers, to multiply, lead leaders. But what was the key to Papa John's success in the first half? The answer is passion. John Schnatter not only eats Papa John's pizza, he breathes, sleeps, and lives it. It is also his predominating thoughts. The Lehman Brothers analyst Michael Spicer said of him in Success magazine, "Pizza is Schnatter's life, and he takes it very seriously. Schnatter's philosophy is simple and straightforward. Concentrate on what you do well," he advises, "and do it better than anybody else." That's such a great story. You can literally change your whole business with implementing and executing this philosophy and teaching and showing this to your leaders to multiply overnight. It says here, fleshing it out. Experts spend a lot of time trying to figure out what makes people successful. They often look at people's credentials, intelligence, education, and other factors, but more than anything else, passion makes the difference. David Sarnoff of RCA maintains that nobody can be successful unless he loves his work. If you look at the things, at the lives of effective leaders, you will find that they often don't fit into a stereotypical mold. For example, more than 50% of all CEOs of Fortune 500 companies hold C or C- averages in college. Nearly 75% of all U.S. presidents were in the bottom half of their school classes, and more than 50% of all millionaire entrepreneurs never finished college. What makes it possible for people who might seem ordinary to achieve great things? The answer is passion. Nothing can take the place of passion in a leader's life. What are some points of passion? Passion is the first step of achievement. Your desire determines your destiny. Weak desire brings weak results. Just as a small fire creates little heat. The stronger your fire, the greater the desire. The stronger your fire, the greater the desire, and the greater your potential. Passion increases your willpower. There's no substitute for passion. It is fuel for the will. If you want anything badly enough, you can find the willpower to achieve it. The only way to have that kind of desire is to develop passion. Passion changes you, is the third point. The fourth point, passion makes the impossible possible. To increase your passion, do the following. Take your temperature. How passionate are you about your life and work? Does it show? Get an honest assessment by querying several co-workers and your spouse about your level of desire. You won't become passionate until you believe passion can be the difference maker in your life. Think back to when you were just starting out in your career, or even further back to when you were a child. What really turned your crank? What could get you to spend hours and hours and hours and you wouldn't even measure the time? Try to recapture your old enthusiasm. Then evaluate your life and career in light of those old loves. Associate with people of passion. It sounds hokey, but birds of a feather really do flock together. If you've lost your fire, get around some fire lighters. Not firefighters, firelighters. You're getting around firefighters, people that are broke-minded. Get around firelighters, people that are rich-minded. Passion is contagious. The 13th quality is positive attitude. If you believe you can, you can. The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude of mind. William James. A successful man is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at him. David Brinkley. Most people credit Edison's ability to create genius. He credited it to hard work. Genius, he declared, is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. I believe his success was also the result of a third factor, his positive attitude. When it took him 10,000 tries to find the right materials for the incandescent light bulb, he didn't see them as that many failures. With each attempt, he gained information about what didn't work, bringing him to a closer solution. He never doubted that he would find a good one. His belief could be summarized by a statement. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Edison loved the place. This is talking about this building that burned down. He spent every minute he could there. He even slept there, often on one of the lab tables. But on December day in 1914, his beloved lab caught fire. As he stood outside and watched it burn, he is reported to have said, listen to this, guys. Kids, go get your mother. She'll never see another fire like this one. Most people would have been crushed. Not Edison. I am 67, he said, after the tragedy, but not too old to make a fresh start. I've been through a lot of things like this. He rebuilt the lab and he kept working for another 17 years. I am long on ideas, but short on time, he commented. I expect to live to be only about 100, and he died at the age of 84. Some pieces of positive attitude. One, your attitude is a choice. One of my great indirect mentors, Aaron Davis from Nebraska, he always says, your attitude, your choice. Shout out you, Aaron. Psychologist Viktor Frankl, he said, believed, the last of our human freedoms is to choose our attitude in any given circumstance. 2, your attitude determines your actions. Family life expert Dennis Waitley addressed the issues. The winner's edge is not a gifted birth, a high IQ, or in talent. The winner's edge is all in the attitude, not aptitude. Attitude is what you think. Aptitude is your capabilities. Attitude is the criterion for success. Your attitude is crucial because it determines how you act. Your people, the third piece, are a mirror of your attitude. Who you are is who you attract. 4, maintaining a good attitude is easier than regaining one. Reflecting on it. Martin Lloyd-Jones asserted most unhappiness in life is due to the fact that you are listening to yourself rather than talking to yourself. Feed yourself the right food. Read books that encourage a positive attitude, listen to motivational tapes, achieve a goal every day. A pattern of positive achievement will help you develop a pattern of positive thinking. Write it on your wall. One of my mentors, really both my mentors, Simon and Marcus, they write it everywhere. Their goals, their positivity, everything's in front of them. You'll see it all over the place. The thing that separates good players from great ones is mental attitude. It might only make a difference to 2 or 3 points in an entire match, but how you play those key points makes a difference between winning and losing. If the mind is strong, you can do almost anything you want. Is your mind conditioned to win the key points ahead of you? Problem solving. You can't let problems be a problem. You can't let problems be a problem. You can measure a leader by the problems he tackles. He always looks for the ones his own size. John Maxwell. What separates winners from whiners? It's problem solving. They anticipate problems, number 1. If you keep a positive attitude, but plan for the worst, you'll find yourself in a good position to solve problems that come your way. 2, they accept the truth. Broadcaster Paul Harvey said, in times like these, it is good to remember that there have always been times like these. Effective leaders face up to the reality of a situation. 3, they see the big pictures. Leaders must continually see the big picture. They cannot afford to be overwhelmed by emotion. 4, they handle one thing at a time. Never try to solve, Richard Sloma has this advice, never try to solve all the problems at once. Make them line up for you one by one. 5, they don't give up a major goal when they're down. As NFL fullback Bob Christian says, I never decide whether it's time to retire during training camp. He knows not to give up when he's in the valley. So here's an acronym. Teach. Time. Spend time to discover the real issue. Exposure. Find out what others have done. Assistance. Have your team study all angles. Creativity. Brainstorm multiple solutions. H. Hit it. So that's teach. Implement the best solution. 15. Most important. Relationships. If you get along, they'll go along. The most important single ingredient in the formula of success is knowing how to get along with people. Theodore Roosevelt. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. John Maxwell. Number 1, have a leader's head. Understand people. The first quality of a relational leader is the ability to understand how people feel and think. They like to feel special, so sincerely compliment them. They want a better tomorrow, so show them hope. They desire direction, so navigate for them. They are selfish, so speak to their needs first. They get low emotionally, so encourage them. They want success, so help them win. This sensitivity can be called the soft factor in leadership. You have to be able to adapt your leadership style to the person you're leading. Have a leader's heart. Love people is the second. Leaders have empathy for others and a keen ability to find the best in people, not the worst, by truly caring for others. You cannot be a truly effective leader, the kind that people want to follow, unless you love people. 3, extend a leader's hand and help people. People respect a leader who keeps their interest in mind. If your focus is on what you can put into people rather than what you can get out of them, they'll love and respect you, and these create a great foundation for building relationships. Bringing it home. To improve your relationships, do the following. Improve your mind. Jumpstart it by reading several books. Strengthen your heart. Act your way into feeling. Act your way into feeling. Oftentimes you will act your way into feeling more than feeling your way into feeling better. You will act your way into feeling better than feeling your way into feeling better. Repair a hurting relationship. 16, responsibility. If you won't carry the ball, you can't lead the team. Maxwell says a leader can give up anything except final responsibility. William Travis, Davy Crockett, and Jim Bowie, all frontiersmen, and they were defending the Alamo, I believe, and they came up with the motto, victory or death. I actually have a tattoo down my back that I hope says death before surrender, but I Googled some Mandarin, so I was young. Good leaders never embrace a victim mentality. They recognize that who and where they are remain their responsibility, not that of their parents or spouses, their children, the government, their bosses, or their co-workers. Here's some points with it. 1, they get the job done. One millionaire was asked why he worked 12 to 14 hours a day. He answered, it took me 15 years working for a large organization to realize that in our society, you work 8 hours a day for survival, and if you work only 8 hours a day, all you do is survive. Everything over 8 hours is an investment in your future. No one can do the minimum and reach his maximum potential. Fire. We could stop right here and you could change your life and become a millionaire with that information right there. The second point, They are willing to go the extra mile. Here's the second point. Responsible people never protest. That's not my job. They're willing to do whatever it takes to complete the work needed by the organization. The third point, they are driven by excellence. Excellence is a great motivator. People who desire excellence and work hard to achieve it are almost always responsible. Fourth, they produce regardless of the situation. If you want to lead, you've got to produce. If you want to lead, you've got to produce. Keep hanging in there. Sometimes an inability to deliver, despite difficult circumstances, can be due to a persistent problem. Admit what's not good enough. If you have trouble achieving excellence, maybe you've lowered your standards. Look at your personal life or places where you've let things go. Find better tools. Improve your skills by taking classes, reading. Do whatever it takes. 17 is security. This quality is security. Competence never compensates for insecurity. You can't lead people if you need people. John Maxwell. No man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself or get all the credit for doing it. Andrew Carnegie. No one can live on a level inconsistent with the way he sees himself. You may have observed that in people. If someone sees himself as a loser, he finds a way to lose. Anytime his success surpasses his security, the result is self-destruction. That's not only true for followers, but it's also true for leaders. Insecure leaders are dangerous to themselves, their followers, and the organizations they lead. Because a leadership position amplifies personal flaws, whatever negative baggage you have in life only gets more difficult to bear what you're trying to lead others. Insecure leaders have several common traits. They don't provide security for others. An old saying, you cannot give what you do not have, just as people without skill cannot impart skills to others. People without security cannot make others feel secure, and for a reason. Number 2, they take more from people than they give. Insecure people are on a continual quest for validation, acknowledgement, and love. They continually limit their best people is number 3. Show me an insecure leader, and I'll show you someone who cannot genuinely celebrate his people's victories. He might even prevent them from realizing any victories, or he might take credit or personally for their best work on his team. As I mentioned in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Maxwell says, only secure leaders give power to others. That's the law of empowerment. But an insecure leader hoards power. Number 4 is they continually limit the organization. And when a secure leader's team succeeds, it brings him great joy. He sees that as the highest compliment he can receive for his leadership ability. Self-discipline. The first person you lead is you. The first and best victory is to conquer self. A man without decision of character can never be said to belong to himself. He belongs to whatever can make captive of him. John Foster. And the first quote was Plato. The first and best victory is to conquer self. It's a tough road to the top. Not many people ever reach the place where they are considered one of the best at their work, and even fewer are believed to be the best ever. Even in the off season, so this is about Jerry Rice, while other players are fishing or lying around enjoying downtime, Rice is working. His normal exercise routine lasted from 7 a.m. to noon. Someone once joked, he's so well conditioned that he makes Jamie Lee Curtis look like James Earl Jones. Discipline. First point of discipline is develop and follow your priorities. Anyone who does what he must only when he is in the mood or when it's convenient isn't going to be successful, nor will people respect and follow him or her. Someone once said to do important tasks, 2 things are necessary: a plan and not quite enough time. As a leader, you already have too little time. Now all you need is a plan. If you can determine what's really a priority and release yourself from everything else, it's a lot easier to follow through on what's important. And that's the essence of self-discipline. 2, make a disciplined lifestyle your goal. Learning about any highly disciplined person such as Jerry Rice should make you realize that to be successful, self-discipline can't be a one-time event. It has to become a lifestyle. 3, challenge your excuses. 4, remove rewards until the job is done. 5, stay focused on results. Anytime you concentrate on the difficulty of the work instead of its results or rewards, you're likely to become discouraged. Dwell on it too long and you'll develop self-pity instead of self-discipline. The next time you're facing a must-do task and you're thinking of doing what's convenient instead of paying the price, change your focus. Count the benefits of doing what's right and then dive in. Author H. Jackson Brown Jr. quipped, "Talent without discipline is like an octopus on roller skates. There's plenty of movement, but you never know if it's going to move forward, backwards, or sideways." 19. To get ahead, put others first. The true leader serves, and he serves people. Serves their best interests, and in so doing will not always be popular, may not always impress, but because true leaders are motivated by loving concern rather than a desire for personal glory, they are willing to pay the price. Eugene B. Hadbacker. You've got to love your people more than your position, John Maxwell. A few points is put others ahead of his own agenda. 2, possess the confidence to serve. 3, initiates service to others. 4, is not position conscious. 5, serve out of love. If you want to lead on the highest level, be willing to serve on the lowest. Teachability. To keep leading, keep learning. Value your listening and reading time at roughly 10 times your talking time. This will assure that you are on a course of continuous learning and self-improvement. That's Gerald McGinnis, President and CEO of Respironics. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. That's John Wooden. Chaplin was successful because he had great talent and indescribable drive, but those traits were fueled by teachability. He continually strived to grow, learn, and perfect his craft. Even when he was the most popular and highest paid performer in the world, he wasn't content with the status quo. Chaplin explained his desire to improve to an interviewer. When I am watching one of my pictures presented to an audience, I always pay close attention to what they don't laugh at. Your growth determines who you are. Who you are determines who you attract. Who you attract determines the success of your organization. If you want to grow your organization, you have to remain teachable. Cure your destination disease. Some people mistakenly believe that, and this is the first point of quality, the quality teachability, is that believe that they can accomplish a particular goal, they no longer have to grow. That's not true. The day that you stop growing is the day that they forfeit their potential and the potential of the organization. Remember the words of Ray Kroc. As long as you're green, you are growing. As soon as you're ripe, you start to rot. Overcome your success. If what you did yesterday still looks big to you, you haven't done much today. Swear off shortcuts. This is the third point. My friend Nancy Dornan says, the longest distance between 2 points is a shortcut. 4, trade in your pride. Emerson wrote, for everything you gain, you lose something. To gain growth, give up your pride. Number 5, never pay twice for the same mistake. When I was a kid growing up in rural Ohio, Maxwell says, I saw this sign in a feed store. If you don't like the crop you are reaping, check the seed you are sowing. What kind of crop are you reaping? And do your life and leadership seem to be getting better day after day, month after month, year after year? To improve your teachability, do the following. Observe how you react to mistakes. Try something new. Learn in your area of strength. After winning his 3rd world championship, bull rider Tough Hedeman didn't have a big celebration. He moved on to Denver to start the new season and the whole process over again. His comment, the bull won't care what I did last week. Whether you're an untested rookie or a successful veteran, if you want to be a champion tomorrow, be teachable today. Here's the final law. The last quality is vision. You can seize only what you can see. You can seize only what you can see. A great leader's courage to fulfill his vision comes from passion, not position, John Maxwell. The future belongs to those who see possibilities before they become obvious, John Scully, former CEO of Pepsi. 1, vision starts within. 2, vision draws on your history. 3, vision meets others' needs. If you have a vision that doesn't serve others, it's probably too small. 4, vision helps you gather resources. And this is the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader. I hope this helps you. Check out any content by Maxwell and have a great day.